Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to all the assembled devotees. So we will continue our discussion from our yesterday where we left, chapter 17. So before that, let us start our day by prayers to Shri Radha Govinda and seeking blessings from our Guru Parampara. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadapayam Dadadi Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalitam Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karana Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha Kalpatarubhasya cha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrindi ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we'll continue our discussion. So let us have a quick recap of what we learned in this chapter so far from our yesterday's session. So who is to add few points from our yesterday's discussion? Yatika Mataji, you want to add a couple of points? Or Jyoti Mataji,
Hare Krishna,
anybody?
Guruji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yesterday we discussed about the different qualities and the food and sacrifices that each person has to take based on the modes. There is ignorance, passion, and goodness. People, those in goodness, they have increased duration of life. They quality of existence increases. They have strength and happiness and satisfaction, and they consume food such as juicy, fat, wholesome. And who are ignorant and are in the mode of passion, their food is always considered as distress, misery, or disease, because it's either too bitter, too sour, salty, or pungent. Basically, I have heard that tamasic people they eat food which is almost rotten, that is 4, 5, 6 days kept in the fridge. That is what I heard. And it becomes also putrid, decomposed, and remnants. And yes, Prabhuji, I've decided to not be a tamasic person and at least shift myself forward.
Very nice, Mataji. So what do you do to shift from tamasic to goodness? What is our acharyas have prescribed us, especially when it comes to food?
We have to offer first to Krishna. Whatever is offerable to Krishna is prasad to us.
Yes, Mataji. So we have to offer sattvic food. That is why it is said without onion garlic also. Vegetarian food without onion garlic, we have to eat. It is sattvic. Yeah, so moving on with our discussion. So this chapter started with Arjuna asking a question that in previous chapter you described about two qualities of people. One is divine and one is demon, two extremes. What about people who have little faith, but it is not in line to what our scripture says? The faith, then we understood, based on our material conditioning, we have different kind of faith, and to understand that we need to see what kind of food we have, what kind of sacrifices we do, what kind of austerities we are doing, and what kind of charities we do. So these four important things we are trying to discuss, and yesterday we covered both food and sacrifices in mode, and today we are going to look at austerities. Yeah. So when we talk about austerities, what do you think? Is austerity necessary or no for our progress in spiritual consciousness? What the class feels? Hare Krishna.
It's required, Prabhuji.
So how it is helping, Prabhu? Any thoughts? How austerities are helping us?
So Prabhuji, for example, whatever, let's say, we do fasting on Ekadashi, right? Okay.
Yes.
Earlier, who are not into the Krishna consciousness, and once they're getting into a Krishna consciousness, I think this is one of the austerity which, the devotees do. I think that itself is also an austerity to please Krishna.
Yeah.
To really to please Krishna and to get the benefits of to get the whatever the benefits which have been associated with that particular Ekadashi, to rise in the spiritual progress largely. That's a objective, Prabhuji. One of the austerity.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nicely said. So the first thing of our spiritual progress is atato brahma jignasa, that we are not body, we are spirit soul. Prabhupada literally says this in every chapter, that we are not body, we are spirit soul. How do we rise in this realization? All these austerities will help. All through what we are trying to do, we are trying to satisfy our own body and senses. Through these austerities, we will realize that we need not have to work hard to satisfy this body. Some of the austerities, as Prabhu said, Ekadashi, when we take fasting, so we are trying to rise above our bodily needs. That way, we are getting free from our bodily attachments. We discussed two reasons why we are entangled in this material world is because of our material attachments. Material attachment could be the attachment with our body or with our relationships or our opulences, name, fame, whatever it is. And then sense enjoyment. So austerity is required. Now, what kind of austerity is required, that we will discuss in this chapter, and through these shlokas. We will see lot of austerities which is not in line to Shastras. So we should not be doing that. We need to be following Shastras, our Guru Acharyas, in doing right kind of austerities. Yeah. So now let us move on. First shloka for the day. Somebody can take up, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I try?
Yes, yes, Prabhu, please.
Deva Dvija Guru Pragna Pujana Saucham Arjavam Brahmacharyam Ahimsacha Sariram Tapa Uchyate. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So English translation, somebody can take up.
The austerity of body consists in this: worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like the father and mother; cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence are also austerities of the body. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So here the Supreme Lord Krishna is trying to explain different kind of austerities and penances. Yeah. When we offer our obeisances in front of the Lord, in front of our spiritual master and our parents, that again is an austerity for this body. And then cleanliness outside as well as within. Simplicity, living simply. Celibacy is very important. Sense enjoyment outside marriage is strictly prohibited. One has to maintain that kind of celibacy, and that is austerity for the body. Non-violence, not harming others as well as our own body. So these are all some of the austerities of the body which has been prescribed in our Shastras. Next sloka.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mother.
अनुद्वेगकरं वाक्यं सत्यं प्रियहितं च यत् स्वाध्यायाभ्यसनं चैव वाङ्मयं तप उच्यते. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother.
Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So here, austerity of speech. Now, most of the time when we see, we do lot of prajalpa. What is prajalpa? Talking, wasting time about unnecessary things. What are unnecessary things? Anything which is not helping you to progress in Krishna consciousness, all such speech is waste of time, is what our Acharya says. So we need to utilize our time and the speech to speak about the glories of the Supreme Lord. And secondly, one more thing what we have seen, we keep talking behind back of others. It is not going to help us in any way. Many times we see people doing wrong, and we tend to, even without validating the truth, we start speaking about others. Somebody has told me something and I start passing on to somebody else without validating whether it is truthful. We will straight away upfront tell something to somebody onto their face, whether we need to know whether it is pleasing or not, whether it is beneficial to other person or not, whether it is agitating to others. These are all very important. A teacher can speak truth for instructing his student, but at the same time, what Shastra says, such a teacher should not speak or try to correct others who are not his students. And secondly, whatever we are speaking, we should back it up with Shastras. By such discussion only, one can derive the highest benefit and elevate in human society, is what we see here. So the speech is very, very important. Next sloka, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Mana prasada saumyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhirityetat tapo manasamuchyate. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. And serenity, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purity of thought are the austerities of the mind. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So in previous sloka, we discussed about the austerity for the speech. Now, the next is austerity for the mind. The austerity for the mind to detach from sense gratification thoughts. And how we can do this? By detaching the mind from sense objects with our intelligence. So the subtle mind, subtle body, mind, intelligence and false ego. So intelligence is higher than mind. But our intelligence is all lost today because of our material contamination. How do we rise in this spiritual intelligence which can overcome the thoughts of mind which is going to draw us to the darkest region? There is absolutely, there is no level to which our mind can put us down. To the darkest of region it will take you. How do we overcome that? Is by intelligence. From there, where we are getting this intelligence is by reading Shastras, listening to Guru Acharyas, Vaishnavas, Sadhu Sangha. So by this, we get our intelligence and we can control our mind. In this age of Kali, our mind is engaged in so many different sense gratification thoughts. Many of them struggle once they go to bed. They will be struggling to sleep peacefully, because even though you are lying on the bed, your mind is working and hundreds of thoughts, and it takes us away, isn't it? How can we control this mind? Mana manatrayate iti mantra. That is the benefit of chanting the holy name. We can always engage our mind in Krishna consciousness activity by chanting the holy name. So that way one can achieve satisfaction of the mind. And it is also said we need to be very simple in our dealings. Self-control is very important. Straightforward in our dealings. And therefore, by doing all these things, we can purify our existence. And all these qualities, activities constitute the austerity of mind, our mental activity. So three things we discussed: austerity of body, speech and mind. So body, we worship, we offer obeisances in front of Lord, Guru, Paramparas. We use this body in service, in various services. Cleanliness is important. Simplicity and celibacy and non-violence we discussed. And austerity for speech, what kind of speech it should be? It should be truthful, it should be beneficial to others, and it should not be non-agitating. And whatever we are speaking, we should back it up with the references from our literatures. And then finally, we discussed about the austerity of mind, where we discussed about the gravity in thoughts, satisfaction, simplicity, self-control. So these all will help purification of one's existence. I will move to the next sloka.
श्रद्धया परया तप्तं तपस्तत्त्रिविधं नरे अपलाकङ्क्षिभिर्युक्ताय सात्विकं परिचाक्षते.
So translation, please.
This threefold austerities practiced by men whose aim is not to benefit themselves materially but to please the Supreme is of the nature of goodness. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So here, threefold austerities. So what are the threefold austerities? Austerity for Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, is it body, mind and speech?
Yes, just now we discussed previous. I'm just checking how many of you are attentively listening. So threefold miseries are body, speech, and mind. And when one engages such austerities, their body, speech, and mind for the pleasure of the Lord, such austerities is in mode of goodness. We have heard about austerities and penance. What is the difference between austerities and penance? I was just trying to look at what is this difference. So austerities is for the body and penance is for the mind. And here if you see, now Gaur Purnima, Maya Navdeep Parikrama is going on. In Kartik month, we have seen Vrindavan Parikrama, Govardhan Parikrama. So all these Parikrama, what are you doing with your body? You're taking all these austerities for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Right? So these are some of the example how we can take austerities. Next sloka.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mother.
Satkaramana-poojartham tabodambhena chaiva yad kriyate tadiha proktam rajasam chalamadruvam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Those ostentatious penances and austerities which are performed in order to gain respect, honor, and reverence are said to be in the mode of passion. They are neither stable nor permanent. Hare
Yes. So previous sloka we discussed, when we perform austerity for the pleasure of the Lord, it becomes mode of goodness. At the same time, somebody is trying to show off with his austerities to gain respect or honor in the society. Such austerities are in mode of passion and they are neither stable nor permanent. So as I said in the beginning, so these austerities and penances are done to rise above our bodily demands. To realize that we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. And what is the purpose of the soul? Purpose of the soul is to serve. So the choice, the free will is with us. Whether we choose to serve the Supreme Lord and his devotees, or we are choosing to serve our own body, senses, or Maya. So the choice is ours. Next sloka. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
मूढग्राहेणात्मनाय पीडया क्रियते तपः परस्योत्साधनार्थं वा तत्तामसम् उदाहृतम्. Hare Krishna.
And those
Translation.
penances and austerities which are performed foolishly by means of obstinate self-torture or to destroy or injure others are said to be in the mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So we have seen many such examples from Shastras. People are doing such severe austerities and penances to get powers with which they can destroy others. Yeah. We have seen examples of Hiranyakashipu doing such austerities, and he wanted to trouble the demigod and conquer the heavenly planets. All such penances or austerities with ill purpose is known as mode of ignorance. Now we are moving to the next section, section E. This talks about the charity. So moving on from austerities to charity, this is very important sloka for all of us. So somebody can take up.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
दातव्यमिति यद्दानं दीयतेनुपकारिणे देशे काले च पात्रे च तद्दानं सात्विकं स्मृतम्.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. That gift which is given out of duty at the proper time and place to a worthy person and without expectation of return is considered to be charity in the mode of goodness.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mataji. So, Deshecha Kalecha Patrecha. So, what we are trying to understand, the charity to be given for a person who is engaged in advancing in spiritual, helping others, spreading this Krishna consciousness movement. So, for the right person, right time, and right purpose. So, recently we all have joined hands and contributed for this temple project. That is the perfect example how we can all utilize the Lakshmi what Krishna has given as his mercy for the right purpose. Sometimes we have seen in the society that charity is given to the poor people, sometimes out of compassion, without even knowing whether the poor person is he worthy of such charity. If he is not worthy, then there is no spiritual advancement for them nor us. So one of the example which I usually give, we were standing next to a restaurant. This quite old thing where one boy approached me and said that he need money. So I bought him a plate of idli, and this boy took it. He had one idli and left idli there and he ran away. So we need to be very careful that whether that person is really in need. Giving money is very easy for us. Whatever we have, it is very easy to give, but giving to the right person for the right reason, right purpose at the right time, that takes little extra effort. That effort is very important when we are giving the charity. Else we end up giving charity to such person who will indiscriminately use it for wrong reasons. And to keep it very simple, we need to give charity for the purpose of spreading Krishna consciousness. That is the most beneficial for the entire society, for us as well as the person who is receiving. So charity in goodness, we discussed this point already, that we always need to give charity as a matter of duty. We should not think that we are trying to help somebody. It is our duty to give charity so that the person who is receiving this charity can spread this Krishna consciousness message to all the conditioned souls out there, and at proper time and place, and to a worthy person. Giving out of duty without any expectation, that is charity in goodness. Let us move to the next sloka. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mata.
Yettu pratyupakarartham phalam uddishya va punaha diyate cha pariklishtam taddanam rajasam smridam. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Somebody who has not participated yet can try.
Hare Krishna Ji.
Yes, Prabhu.
But the charity performed with the expectation of some return or with a desire for fruitive results or in a goading mood is said to be charity in the mode of passion. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. So today, if you see, most of the people in the society are doing this kind of charity. They give something and they take photos and put it in the Facebook, right? And sometimes charity are also done, performed for elevation for heavenly kingdom with some expectations. Charity is also done sometime because of the obligations. For example, I have approached many for distributing books, giving Bhagavad Gita. I have given books, I have collected 300 rupees and I have given that money for the temple construction activities. Many times, just by the obligation they buy, they give something and then they regret later. This fellow took 300 rupees from me. Similar such experiences we have seen. All such charity given is in the mode of passion. Any charity given for some expectation, some recognitions, or with the reason of obligation or some regret, all these charities are in mode of passion. So what we learn from here, expectation of some return, desire for fruitive results, and in a grudging mode. So such charity is in mode of passion. Next sloka.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mother.
अदेशकाले यद्दानम् अपात्रेभ्यश्च दीयते असत्कृतमवज्ञातं तत्तामसमुदाहृतम्. हरे कृष्ण.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes,
And
Mataji.
charity performed at an improper place and time and given to unworthy persons without respect and with contempt is charity in the mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. If you see a picture here, he says, help, I need money for weeds. Yeah. Contribution for indulgence in intoxication or gambling, they're all not encouraged. So we need to be very careful. The money what we are giving to certain person, if he goes and engage in some such activities, taking intoxication, so he is also going to hell and the karma is also transferring to us. So we need to be very careful to what kind of person we are giving. And second important point, what we understand here is, even if we give charity to a suitable person, but our mood is not with respect and without any attention, if we are giving charity, such charity is also considered in the mode of darkness. So it says, at impure place, at improper time, to unworthy person, no proper attention given. Many times it is so easy for us to give charity, but we at some times we miss out for what reason we are giving. Are we giving to the right reason? Are we taking that little effort to know? It is very important. We need to give importance for the charity what we are giving, and no proper respect. When we give charity as an obligation without respect, it is all comes under ignorance. Now this is very important. This section, the last section, is very important. Now we understood that the food we eat and the austerities we do, charity we do, how do we do? So we learn in the conclusion, Om Tat Sat. This section describes the right spirit of performing sacrifices, charity and austerity, and as said in the beginning, which is for for dedication to the Supreme Lord, for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So now we understood that at least somehow we have to reach to the mode of goodness. Now, how do we break free from mode of goodness? All that we do in mode of goodness will also going to entangle. Maximum it can do is to take us to the heavenly planet, and then we have to come back. Our purpose is to go back to Krishna, serve Krishna eternally. So how can we break free from mode of goodness is what we are going to learn in this section. Yeah, very important shloka. Somebody can take up.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Go ahead, Mataji.
You can carry,
Sure, Mataji. Om Tat Sat Iti Nirdesho Brahmanastri Vidasnata Brahmanastena Vedascha Yagnascha Vihita Pura. Hare Krishna.
From the beginning of creation, the three syllables Om Tat Sat have been used to indicate the supreme absolute truth, Brahman. They were uttered by Brahmanas while chanting Vedic hymns and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Om Tat Sat is referred as the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead from the beginning of the creation. So we now learned already, as I've said previously also, that food, penances, sacrifices, charity can be done in different modes, and at least we reach to the mode of goodness. But we understood that even in the mode of goodness, it is going to entangle us. And how do we break free is chanting Hari Om Tat Sat. Whenever we are doing any kind of sacrifices or any kind of charities, so when we say Hari Om Tat Sat, we are offering this to the Supreme Lord and saying this is for your pleasure. And there is no material expectation out of any such charity or sacrifices we are doing. And that is the means for our spiritual elevation. Even when Brahma performed sacrifices, even Brahma said Hari Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, signifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we are also following through this disciplic succession coming from Brahma. So as said, when we are performing any such penances, charity, sacrifices, the three words we need to say is Om Tat Sat. This is acting in Krishna consciousness. This is not going to bind us in any of the modes, including the mode of goodness. Next sloka. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Tasmadom ityudahritya yajnadanas-tapakriya pravartante vidhanokta satatam brahmavadinam. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So anybody who has not participated yet in the class can try. English translation. Else anybody can go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Therefore, transcendentalists undertaking performances of sacrifice, charity, and penance in accordance with scriptural regulations begin always with Om to attain the Supreme.
Yes. So the Rig Veda 1.22.20 it says Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam that is, the lotus feet of Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, are the supreme devotional platform, and performance of everything is on behalf of the Supreme Lord, and that only assures the perfection of all our activities, is what we learn from this. So everything we are performing for the pleasure of the Lord. Next sloka.
Hare Krishna. तदित्यनभिसन्धाय फलं यज्ञतपः क्रियाः दानक्रियाश्च विविधाः क्रियन्ते मोक्षकाङ्क्षिभिः.
Without desiring fruitive results, one should perform various kinds of sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word Tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from material entanglement. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So here we are trying to understand the words Om, Tat, and Sat. So when we say Om, we are remembering the Supreme Lord. Om Kara is the sound vibration of the Supreme Lord. Now Tat. So first with Om we are remembering the Lord. The Tat will relieve us from material entanglement. To be elevated in spiritual position, one should not act for any material gain. This is what we learned. Anya abhilashita shunyam. So any act should be performed for the pleasure of Krishna. And what is the ultimate gain? Is love of Godhead and going back to the Supreme Lord and eternally serve the Supreme Lord. So acting without any material desire is referred as Tat. So when we are doing any charity, when we are saying Om Tat Sat, we will discuss what is Sat, but Om, we are remembering the Lord. Tat says, I have no material expectations from this activity, and then we will see what Sat is all about in next sloka. Hare Krishna. Somebody can take up.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Satbhave satudbhave cha saditye tat prayujyate prashaste karmani tatha sachabda partha yujyate yajne tabasi dane cha sthiti saditi chochyate karma chaiva tadarthiyam sadityeva bhidhiyate. Hare Krishna.
Translation, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice, indicated by the word Sat. The performer of such sacrifice is also called Sat, as are all works of sacrifice, penance, and charity, which, true to the absolute nature, are performed to please the Supreme Person, O son of Pritha. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So in this sloka, the word prashaste karmani, or the prescribed duties, is important, which says is recommended for our purification to attain liberation from our material entanglements. So all such activities, the prescribed duties what we are performing, it is recommended to vibrate when we are doing all these activities. We have to say Om Tat Sat. The words Sadbhave Sadhu Bhave, it indicates Krishna consciousness is Sattva, pure Sattva, and one who is fully Krishna consciousness, all his activities are Sadhu. And Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, chapter 25 sloka, it clearly gives the importance of association of devotees to progress in our spiritual path. So through that Sat association, Sat Sangha, we also rise in our spiritual consciousness. And it said, Satam Prasangat. It says, without good association, one cannot achieve the transcendental knowledge. And the word tad artyam, it says, whatever we are doing, we have to do it for Krishna. Various activities we can do. We can cook for Krishna. We can clean the temples for Krishna. All the services, when we visit temple, there are so many services. It is all for the pleasure of Krishna. How can we connect that? Now, in a physical temple, you have a lot of services to do. On an online platform, how can we connect this in service of the Supreme Lord in spreading this Krishna consciousness movement? Can you give me some examples how in an online platform still we can continue to serve the Lord and our Guru Parampara? How can we do that?
By preaching.
Yes, preaching. What else we can do?
By taking some small volunteer services and some donation if we can do.
Yes, Mataji. So, very important point you brought is taking up some services. Not everybody can take class, but one person take class. In level 2, there are 15 to 20 volunteers serving to make this class successful. Only one person is front of the camera. There are 15 devotees selflessly working very sincerely to make this level 2 class going on every week after week. So in view of Krishna, everybody who contribute in their capacity, they are all engaged in devotional service. And as I've said, for us to continue in Krishna consciousness till the last breath, some of the very important foundations is chanting of the holy name, following 4 regulative principles, association of devotees, and engaging in some or the other service.
Even attending the classes regularly.
Yes, so
and
that is association of devotees.
Even participating actively.
Yes, Prabhuji. So association of devotees is very, 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 very important. Through this discussion, we are trying to understand a lot more in depth about the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. If you take Bhagavad Gita and sit and try to finish, first of all, people take ages to complete Bhagavad Gita. Second, they tend to put their own mental speculation with their limited knowledge, try to understand with their past experience, not as it is. So the association of devotees is very important. Attending class and in bona fide Guru Shishya Parampara, we need to attend. So the mercy of devotees, only by the mercy of devotees we get Krishna. Similarly, Krishna consciousness has come into all our life by the sacrifices of devotees like Namanishta Prabhu and the team. So how can we give back? Is joining hands to help them to take this Krishna consciousness movement to nook and corner of the world. Today, there are so many devotees joining this online program from across the world and transforming many lives. So we can also join that movement. Yeah. So many devotees already taking up sevas from this group. Doesn't take more than 10-15 minutes a day. That is going to help you a lot in continuing your Krishna consciousness journey. So all such devotees who are interested, please reach out to us. There are many such sevas we can engage you all in. So here, one more interesting thing which I could bring to you is the word Omkara. It says the Omkara itself is the Lord Vishnu. Omkara and Lord Vishnu is non-different. In this Akara, Ukara and Ma, we will see. So here it says, Akarenocyate Krishna Sarvalokaikanayaka Ukarenocyate Radha Makaro Jivavachakaha. So it says Akara is Krishna and Ukara is Srimati Radharani and Makara is Jiva, Jivatma. So when we are calling out Om, all these things is already covered. So from this, what we understood, Om Tat Sat, when we are saying Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat, it is the significance of absolute truth. Om is we remembering the Supreme Lord. Tat is there is no material expectation out of that activity, and Tat signifies the devotional sacrifice what we are engaging in, signifies the absolute truth, and any work performed for the pleasure of the Lord is permanent, and such work is called Sat. And we will see what is Asat through this last sloka for the day. So somebody can take up. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. अश्रद्धायाहुतं दातं तपस्तप्तं कृतं च यत् असद् इति उच्यते पार्था न च तत्प्रेत्य नो विहा.
Thank you, Mataji. Translation, please.
But sacrifices, austerities, and charities performed without faith in the Supreme are non-permanent, O son of Pritha, regardless of whatever rites are performed. They are called asat and are useless both in this life and the next.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So what is the summary, the essence of this chapter is, anything done without the transcendental objective to please the Supreme Lord, whether it could be sacrifice, charity, or penance, it is useless and abominable. At the same time, Shraddha, the faith, is the first stage of transformation of anybody from living like an animal to self-realization. The Shraddha is very important. The devotional stages of devotional service we have discussed, Shraddha. And then what happens with the Shraddha, little Shraddha, we get Sadhu Sangha. With Sadhu Sangha, we get the real knowledge, and through Bhajana Kriya, by chanting, Kirtan, by engaging in devotional service, Anartha Nivrutti happens. In conditioned state, we were all worshipping demigods for some or the other material benefits, and we understood the modes of goodness is better. But one who can take up Krishna consciousness, one who can take up devotional service, he can directly surpass all these modes of ignorance, passion, as well as goodness. So what is important is to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, and that is the essence of this chapter. So when one takes the shelter of the spiritual master, one's faith in the Supreme Lord will also matures, and in course of time, he, with all the stages of Nistha, Ruchi, Asakti, and then Bhava, and finally the Prema, Krishna Prema, comes and one attain the perfection of his life. So with this, I will end my session today. Thank you for your patient listening. Hope you all enjoyed today's session. Any quick questions from today's discussion we can discuss, and any realization you can bring up, and then we look forward to meet you all for next last chapter, chapter 18. I request you all to take out time and come. Chapter 18 is bit long. It may take 3 sessions, but it covers most of its summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. It is very important. All that we have studied so far, it is our final preparation to progress to the next level. So thank you very much. So any quick questions or anything you wish to share which you liked from today's session, or you want to take away which will help all others? The floor is open to you all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I have got one realization. When anyone who is in whatsoever consciousness offers tarpanam, that is the water, to his ancestors every day, initially always he utters the word Om Tat Sat, Brahmasde, Krishna Pakshe, Mas, Var, and then he offers everything to his ancestors. That means they are totally pure Krishna consciousness. What I could understand from the session. So,
correct, Prabhuji. All these ritual sacrifices, what we do for Pitrus, we remember Lord Vishnu. So only Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, can deliver such souls who have wherever they are. So whatever such activities we are doing, when we are taking Hari Om Tat Sat, it is for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Thank you for that point, Prabhu. Any other points to discuss?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. One realization what actually I have is, I think Parihom Tatsat, right? So I think the material expectations, Prabhuji, even though if you try to, do certain kind of a charity, or certain kind of a sacrifice, somewhere, the feeling sometimes sets in, okay, I'm doing it. Therefore, I think Krishna might reciprocate, in certain ways, that itself, sometimes it does happen. So I think in today's class, it clarifies, you clarified very clearly, Prabhu, that there should not be any kind of an expectations at all.
Yes. So as a matter of duty, we need to do all these charities and sacrifices. It is very natural at our level to expect some recognition, returns when we are doing, somebody is noticing. It is very natural. So when we are practicing by saying Hari Om Tat Sat, and now after listening to this chapter, learning from chapter 17 of Bhagavad Gita, the meaning of Om Tat Sat, when we are remembering and we are trying to realize what is this Om Tat Sat, it tells to our heart that I should not be expecting any material returns from this. So it is remembering, it is keep remembering us. It is not going to happen overnight, but with practice, we start doing charity or sacrifices for the pure pleasure of Lord. So that is how we rise above the mode of goodness as well. Right, Prabhuji, thank you very much. So we will end our session for the day. Vancha kalpatarubhasya cha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. All glories to assembled devotees. Hope all have marked your respective attendance. If not, kindly mark. And humble request, kindly you all have to come to the next session. Let us, with the same strength, let us complete chapter 18 and let us progress to next level. And again, I request all of you to take out time, daily 10-15 minutes if you can take. You all can complete your respective quiz. And next week, when we are completing this chapter, and when I ask you and when I know that you all have successfully completed your respective quiz, that is something you can give back for whatever little effort I've been doing for this. I want to see all of you to progress to next level. Yeah, this is not the end. This is just our beginning. We have just from level 1 to level 2 is like baby nursery to LKG. We have a long way to go. So complete this and progress. Continue to engage in some service. Continue to be firm with your sadhana all your life. This entire life is a preparation for our further progress, spiritual progress to the spiritual planet, back to Godhead. Yeah. Thank you very much. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.